I am a huge fan of the Tokyo Ghoul manga. I believe that it is entertaining, dark, tragic, has great characters, a perfect atmosphere, and an addictive story. I read the manga back in June 2014 when I learned about the anime adaptation, because I became so interested in the synopsis that I couldn't wait to watch the anime. So, when I actually got around to watching the show, well, let's just say that I was disappointed. While it wasn't a terrible anime, I felt like I was just watching an incredibly short animated synopsis of the manga, and that the anime was just there to promote the source material. When it was announced that a second season would air in winter 2015, titled Tokyo Ghoul Square Root of A, I was a little less than enthused. What I've heard, though, is that the second season will be an original story written by the author of the original manga, so I do have some hope. It's the rest of the team behind the anime that I'm worried about. Here are 5 ways to potentially fix Tokyo Ghoul Square Root of A. Be aware of spoilers. One of my favorite aspects about the original manga is how memorable the side characters were. In fact, Nishiki is my second favorite character in the entire series, and he is even more developed than most characters in his role would be. In the anime, however, his character was rather simplified. I never really got the chance to sympathize with him and understand his story. I just got the footnotes. Toka and Hinami also suffer from this. Toka just appears to be a typical Mikasa type character minus the obsession over the main character, and while Hinami isn't bad, she's just kind of there. Practically no time was spent displaying how she and Kaneki formed a brother-sister bond, which you would think is important, but apparently isn't. Granted, not every side character was incredibly developed in the manga, but when the story focused on one character, you learn their story and why their personality is the way it is. The anime adaptation is so rushed that none of the emotional moments left any impact, which is a shame. The only character to ever truly develop was Kaneki, and I still stand by the fact that he's the best part of this show, even before he becomes white-haired Kaneki. But even then, the anime didn't spend nearly enough time focusing on what number 4 is, which is what made Kaneki's character so good to begin with. This is by far the most interesting conflict in the entire story, manga and anime alike. In fact, it's one of the few things that I thought the anime did decently well. The first 2 episodes far exceeded my expectations, and the final episode ranks as one of my favorite episodes of anime, period. So why wasn't more time focused on it? The anime cut out a lot of Kaneki's adjustment into being a half-ghoul, which I think should be the main focus of the entire show. After all, it's the main draw of the series and the main reason I found the setup so intriguing. Unfortunately, because of a short runtime, I don't think enough details were carried over to make this transformation really incredible. Of course this would be here, but not as high as some would predict, I guess. But you know it's a problem when a 12-episode series tries to adapt around 70 chapters of character, story, and atmosphere. Because of this, the show feels very condensed and not complete. Except for the scenes covering Kaneki's conflict, nothing in the anime felt genuine, but more like the writers had to include those story elements because they had to. The arc about Tsukiyama? Honestly, is pretty unnecessary in the anime. The arc with the doves? It felt completely generic and failed to capture any moral ambiguity. Heck, the final arc left out nearly 2 volumes of content! Remember those almost completely pointless characters that showed up in the latter quarter of the show only to disappear into the void immediately afterward? Why were they even included in the anime? I mean, sure, you could say it was because Jason was hunting them down, but honestly they could have worked around that by having Jason want to find Hinami. Considering what happened to her father, I wouldn't be surprised, and it would actually make sense. Instead of introducing random characters that no one's going to care about. I think you're all tired of me making comparisons to the manga by this point, but this is the one part that really disappointed me. This may be strange to point out, but I like Tokyo Ghoul much better when it was in black and white. To me, it makes everything all the more creepy, unsettling, and ominous. The color in the anime actually had me rolling my eyes at points. I mean, come on. Why do Tsukiyama and Rize have purple hair, Nishiki have orange hair, and Toka has dark blue hair? I get that this was part of the anime's design, and yes, the manga volume covers do feature these colors, and the Kagune look pretty awesome. But here's the thing, in the manga they were barely featured, and we have the manga pages to compensate. In the anime, it's really distracting and looks stupid, which I'm sure was the opposite intent of the creators. How cool would it be if Tokyo Ghoul was made without color except for the ghoul eyes red and the Kagune? Wouldn't that be both visually inventive and interesting to look at? Here, take a look. Original, black and white, red eye and Kagune added in. I'd like to see an anime like that, and it looks scary as heck. But no, the anime looks fairly typical unless it's nighttime, but even then the shadowing of the characters is too light and rigid, or sometimes too obvious. This is by far the most annoying part of the anime. While I can't really blame the show due to laws, regulations, and parents who don't monitor what their kids are watching, these errant black bars and color filters that hide the more graphic content completely broke my immersion into the show. And I know you're going to say that they didn't have a choice, but what about Parasite? That anime features gore and the censors aren't nearly half as bad as Tokyo Ghoul's. In fact, I dare say that Parasite even has censorship. Granted, Parasite is a lot darker and able to display gore in a way that doesn't feel tasteless, which is rather rare. In Tokyo Ghoul's case, it's like the creators are trying to hide the fact that the show is gruesome through the laziest means possible. It's like saying that you'll get a chocolate chip cookie, but then the cookie is hidden until you can buy the Blu-ray version of it. It's stupid, takes you out of the experience, and is incredibly irritating because you want that cookie. If there are no censors in the new season, then I will be perfectly happy with it. This is what has to be fixed about the Tokyo Ghoul anime, more than anything else. So, those are 5 ways in my opinion to potentially fix Tokyo Ghoul square root of A. Do you agree? Disagree? Leave it in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.